Kevin Sherrington tackled the most exciting draft question out there regarding the big superstar from UT. Headline: would drafting ex-Longhorn running back Bijan Robinson in the first round make sense for the Cowboys? How do you answer that at 877-881-1053? His other question: even if it doesn't make sense, would the Cowboys do it anyway? I think that's a good question, and I want to say yes because they drafted Zeke 4th overall. This is absolutely on the table with these Cowboys. They're thinking about franchise tagging Tony Pollard.
Yes.
Absolutely. They have no problem with 26 for a running back.
Agreed.
They've also, a couple of years ago, they took the best available player in CeeDee Lamb when they didn't have to.
There you go.
They have a history of doing stuff like this. I will say this, whether you like it or not, at 26, Bijan Robinson will be the highest player on their board.
Correct.
At 26.
Yeah.
He will be their highest rated player on their board.
And that'll be the perfect explanation when they get the drafting running back in the first round pushback. That's inevitable for whichever team drafts Bijan Robinson. They can say, well, hey, dude, we were picking at 26, and he was a top 5 player on our board to start, and he was far and away number 1 on our board when we were up to select.
Yeah.
So, drafting Zeke at number 4 is way more ballsy than taking Bijan Robinson at 26, especially when you factor in the Bijan Robinson ability with versatility as a pass catcher.
Yeah,
and you can sell him on really being, like Lombardi was talking about, a weapon. And now it's up to you as an offense to use him that way, but he's got that skill set that you're like, hey, this is a tweener kind of dude who maybe be the best running back in the league and then can also be a dominant pass catcher.
They will get crushed if they tag Pollard and draft him.
Correct. Yes.
But they could also
by
argue,
some fans would love it though.
But they'll also say, listen, we have Tony on a 1-year deal. There's no guarantee we're going to sign him long term.
Could you see him having a monster season like a Roger Craig 80-90 catches type of deal?
Yes.
Well, if you're going more West Coast offense, I think weapon is the perfect description for him.
Your screen game would improve 1,000% with this guy.
Yeah, it's selling me, Chief.
Man, I do wonder about the screen game because when you start talking
That's Mike
about
McCarthy.
Areas of needing to improve, okay, so he's not on, because when I think of screen game offense, I immediately think of like Andy Reid and the Chiefs and how well-oiled machine. Is McCarthy somewhat known for a well-oiled machine when it comes to the screen game offensively?
They use those backs. They used to use those backs.
That would be welcomed because with Kellen Moore, it seems like for the longest time, there's just no semblance of a screen game.
No coordination at all between the line and the backs.
So a lot of it has to do with the offensive line coach, I guess.
I think it's how you teach it and your ability to have athletic offensive linemen. Now, if you go out there and you're going to take, the tackle, if you're going to draft the guard from Florida, Torrance, no. You ain't running the screen.
He's not screen material.
No, he's a Dana and I had this discussion yesterday on the draft show. This is a phone booth type of a guard.
He's your offensive line version of a one technique.
Okay. I should have given this a little bit more room to breathe, but that animal hypothetical was a little bit.
I went too far in it too.
It was too tempting to pass up. But another thing to look at, I have a couple of branches on this topic tree. We talk about Tony Pollard in the midseason storyline of him not being able to handle more than 15 touches per game. A lot of people gave credence to that idea. How could the Cowboys think about franchise tagging a guy that's a part-time running back? I just don't know. And then the more that you actually did use him at the end of the year, what happened? Oh, we got to get more touches for Tony Pollard. He was getting way more than Zeke finally. And then you had the injury. I don't know if that's the wisest thing to me. Maybe they felt like that storyline was hogwash the whole time. But if he's even a 20-touch guy, forget 15 touches. If that's a 20-touch guy, I can't give him top of the running back market money. I'm making a lot of sense over here, aren't I, Brian?
No, you're fine.
Yeah, Chief,
making a ton of sense to me, my friend. Yes, sir.
You're
fine. But that's a fear I have. They're going to do this with Pollard.
Okay, let me come at you with this. And I'm okay with this Bijan Robinson thing, especially if he's such a weapon, not just a running back. But Brian keeps telling me this guy's all world, right? Unbelievable player.
To me, he is.
Barry Sanders.
And a lot of people agree with Brian. One of the best running backs ever in college.
Yeah.
What did that get the Longhorns? Against a Big 12 defense, okay? And for a lot of these seasons, Texas actually had good defenses, which is rare. You had the best running back for a long time with a good defense in the Big 12. Why didn't you win more games? Oh, that's right, because the passing game dictates success a lot more frequently. Why don't you win with Bijan Robinson in college? I want to know that, UT fan. How are you going to tell me Bijan Robinson's going to wreck the NFL when he couldn't even wreck the Big 12 to put them in, contention for the conference more impressively, Mr. Broadus?
Eric, do you have his total yards in front of you by any chance?
No, I could get him for you though.
I think to me, because like I say, that's the thing. I'm interested in. I think his yards, like he was well over 1,700 yards rushing, something like that.
Yeah.
And then with those receptions, yards from scrimmage is going to be big with this guy. You make a really good point. I just feel like, to me, when you look at him play, that ability to use him as, like I said, I enjoy teams that can run the football. I enjoy the guy that like we talk about, the weapon, the guy that you hand it to him and he could score from any point on the field. I think this guy can do that. You watch him play. It's long run, short runs. You throw him the ball. Everything about him is this complete player. So to me, I appreciate it. I just, if you're talking about a guy that can, and how, can he rush for 1,700 yards in the NFL?
Sure.
He could.
Go for 2,000 maybe.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, though,
9 and 8 year.
I could say, but there's other backs. I'm not saying that, like this Jamar Gibbs from Alabama. I asked Dane this question. I go, Dane, where would you put Bijan Robinson as far as player ranking on your board? 5th. Where would you put Jamar Gibbs? 21.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It might feel like there's a huge gap between these guys.
Yeah.
But if you look at their ability, there really isn't. But they do the same thing. That's why people are not going to go after the. Robinson will be the first back taken. Gibbs will be the second back taken.
And he's not that far off. I don't know which round they're going to go in, but you do have to be prepared to let your guy walk in 5 years. I think 1 second contract for a running back has worked. So you can say he's the best player at a position, but if there's a guy who's going to play for a decade, I think you have to consider that as well. Second contracts are working, and first contracts are barely working with running backs taken in the first round as well. Here's the last 10. Zeke, 2 good years in the rookie contract. Fournette, 1. Saquon Barkley, 2. Rashad Penny, 0. Sony Michel, half a good year. Josh Jacobs, 2 out of 3 so far. Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 0. Najee Harris, 1. Etienne, 1 out of 2. It's been 50-50 at best for even the first contract of running backs taken in the first round. So I would just have a lot of very serious questions that I want answers to. And if I'm at the Cowboys draft room and I get great answers back on all of that, I would still be very willing to take him. But there's just mountains and mountains of evidence that say it's not what you should do, and even close to the first round.
The thing about it is, the argument that you can make is you're picking at 26.
Yeah.
If you take him at 4, there's going to be questions because of the second contract and all that stuff. You take him at 26, he's going to outplay that contract.
Yeah.
He is going to outplay that contract for you.